Hi, I'm Mark Waid, and you're listening to the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast.
Greetings, Cap fans, and welcome to episode 81 of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast. I'm your host, Rick Verbanis, and as always, I am joined by the best gosh darn co-host out there. That would be Mr. Bob Lucius. Hey, Bob. Quite enough, Bob. Qu'est-ce que c'est passé?
Comme ça, Rick.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't speak French, I just said to Bob, what's up? What's happening?
What's happening?
And for those who do speak French, I'm sorry.
Sorry. So sorry.
Yes. What is sorry for French?
Excusez-moi.
Yeah, excusez-moi. But of course. So why are we doing French? Well, that is because in today's episode, we are covering Captain America 149 and 150, which came out in 1972. And who is a main antagonist in that, you may ask?
Who is the main antagonist in this, Rick?
Thanks for asking, Bob. It is Batroc the Leaper. So, that's why my opening hello to Bob was in French. Now, I love doing issues that have Batroc in it. It's just so much fun. It's really a lot of fun. Yeah. Now, it's also a lot of work, Bob. I didn't take French. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to bastardize this, but I have done I've been getting on the Google.
Yeah, there you go.
And have been looking for translations and pronunciations, right? But I'm going to get it messed. I'm going to get it mixed up. So just bear with me for those out there. Our Canadian listeners, we have plenty of Canadian listeners, and the occasional listeners from France, or
it could be anywhere.
Could be anyway.
Could be the International Space Station. You don't know.
That's
know,
true.
Rick.
That's true. That is very true. Now, of course, I can't help but break into my John Cleese French taunter accent from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. One of my all-time favorite movies.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right?
Oh, it's a classic. You hear that in your head. You can't help it.
I can't help it. And I'm picturing John Cleese in his pointy metal hat, and his long mustache, right, on top of the castle, taunting King Arthur and his band of knights, and just going on. My kids love that movie. Yeah, we try to watch it once a year.
I can't wait for my son to be.
He's of age. He's 12. Come on,
I know. Maybe
he can watch it.
Yeah, I don't know if he.
What are you afraid of? The scene?
I'm afraid that his reaction will disappoint me.
Oh,
that's what I'm afraid of.
That makes sense.
Right.
That makes sense.
I'm afraid that and this is it's not just Monty Python, right? It's any of the he finally got around to watching The Green Mile. Right. You mentioned that before, which he liked. But he even told me, he's like, I didn't get some of it. And I'm like,
well, I mean, at 12, that may have been a little higher.
Yeah. And then he watched, took him a couple of days to get through it, but he watched Saving Private Ryan last week.
You at 12 let him watch that? Like you're like, well, no, this silly British humor may be too much for him.
No,
but this realistic movie about World War II with people getting knives shoved into their chest and being blown away by mortars and bullets ripping through their body. That's okay.
It's not. It's getting the British humor. It's finding it funny. It's like Young Frankenstein. I
Frankenstein.
Yeah. I want him to see that, right? But I'm just not sure he'd get half the jokes. And so, I don't know.
Yeah. I told you.
If I go in too soon, and then he'll be like, nah, I never want to see that again. I didn't think it was funny.
I think you're at the right age. I'm trying to remember how old I was when I discovered Monty Python, and it was because of my older cousins.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I was the youngest of all not only my siblings, but I was the youngest of all my cousins. And so I grew up on their music, their, love of things. Right.
Yeah.
And so I want to say I was probably 12 to 14 when I got my introduction to Monty Python, and I went head first.
Yeah.
As soon as I got it, I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I grew up on the trifecta from a very early age of 60 Minutes, the Lawrence Welk Show, and the Benny Hill Show.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
At least one of them you got right.
I was just like sitting on my dad's lap.
Right.
Yeah. All three of those shows were formative for me. But
yeah. Now the thing about Benny Hill, wow, talk about risque.
I know.
Right. and it had nudity.
Yes,
it actually did have nudity.
Yeah.
Now, and I remember being around that age, 12, 13, whatever, and watching Benny Hill, and one episode, and I liked it, and I was enjoying it, and it was risque, and which checked a box for me at that age.
Yeah.
But then there's this one episode where a woman in a castle was sunning herself in a windowsill, and she had her top off.
Yeah.
And young Rick was just like, what? This was on this, and I'm watching TV at a Philadelphia station. It was channel 29, and I don't know what time it was on. It was in the evening, but part of me was thrilled to see that, and the other part of me, this is the righteous Rick.
Yeah.
The other part of me was like, oh, children can see this.
All part of me was like, where's the pause button on the VCR?
If only they had invented a pause button back then, right, Bob?
Right,
that's so funny. I've seen online various articles over the years of like the most paused scenes in any movies, right? And it how do they get these statistics? I don't know, but they basically say, like, based on studies, scientific
science.
Oh, sure,
science
right? Yeah, and of course the what was the Sharon Stone and Michael Douglas movie?
Yeah, that's a classic. Yeah, Basic Instinct.
Yeah. I think that was like number one pause scene where she crosses her legs.
Yeah.
During the examination.
Yeah. There was an examination going on. Yeah.
Yeah, examination.
That's why people were pausing.
Yeah.
They were examining.
Okay, Bob. So yeah, anyway, we're going off on a little bit of a
there's a little bit of a top 10. So tonight's show, actually, we're changing tonight's show. Top 10 most paused VCR scenes.
Yes, of course. But again, I guess going back to Monty Python and the French taunteur, right?
Yeah, right.
Right. Go away, or I shall taunt you a second time. Right. That's the accent that I in my mind give Batroc the Leaper.
Yes.
And I will use that accent throughout this episode.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go, Rick. I think that is the way to go for this.
Yeah.
Something extra.
Yeah. So a few things we will talk about in this episode. We will get to issues 149 and 150. But there's a few other things we want to talk about. Oh, Bob, guess what? We have a special call-in.
We do.
A special guest called in.
Oh my gosh.
We'll play that in a few minutes.
Okay.
Right? At the end of the episode, we will talk about who our guest will be for the next episode, episode 82. We will reveal who our guest will be. And that, as you know, the first Wednesday of every month, we have a new guest. So we'll talk about that. That will be our next. So that stay for the very end. We'll reveal that.
All right.
Speaking of guests, Bob, our last guest on the show was Mark Waid. And I'm a big Mark Waid fan. You are a big Mark Waid fan, Ren.
Yeah.
You know, in our Facebook group, which we have a lot of, you know, over 4,000 Captain America comic book fans. Mark Waid is definitely a beloved creator. So we were thrilled to have him on the show, talk about his 5 different Captain America stints that he basically did, you know, over the course of 25 years. It was a great conversation. Now, what I tend to do, Bob, you know, is I you know, we're always trying to get new listeners. So send these out. I post these, you know, to promote these on Facebook, because again, that's our main, our main ground that we play in. But you know, we're also on Twitter, on Instagram. I you know, I don't spend much time on Twitter and Instagram, and it shows, right? We have like no following on those two platforms.
I follow you.
Oh, do you? Yeah. Oh, that's sweet. I appreciate that.
I'm committed to that.
You're a good guy. So like, I think like on Twitter, we have like maybe like 100 followers. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? I mean, but again, I don't put too much effort into it. I mean, if you go and you look at our channel, you will see I rarely post on there, but I do know that some of our guests are very active on those platforms. So I went ahead and I tweeted about Mark Waid's interview, you know, and our conversation. And so I put that on Twitter, tagging Mark, knowing that he has a big following, and he retweeted it, which was very nice. Thank you, Mark. And I'm going to read what I tweeted. Legendary writer Mark Waid reveals how he cracked the code on writing Captain America after 25 years, why he had his name removed from his Red Skull origin story, being pulled from Cap for Rob Liefeld, why he will never write Cap again, and much more. Now, Bob, is that an accurate description of what the part, or at least some of the interview was?
Right.
We talked about a lot more, but you know, there's only so many characters on Twitter.
There's some broad thematic issues there. Yeah.
Now, I tagged Mark, but I also tagged Rob Liefeld, and I put some other hashtags in there because, you know, as a marketing guy, that's what you do to try to get more eyeballs, right? And quite frankly, I tagged Rob because we would love to have him as a guest on the show, right?
We've talked about it plenty of times. Yeah.
So I posted that on the day that the episode came out, and which was April 6th. Now, Rob read this and he had multiple reactions, and I want to share them with you here on the show. His first reaction was, and he's replying to my post, my tweet, and he says, "I was hired a year before Mark. The editor tried a Hail Mary with Waid, proving he could lift sales without Heroes Reborn." Now, the editor, of course, is Mark Gruenwald. Bottom line, didn't work. Even his relaunch, 1997, which was the, you know, volume 3 that came out after, failed to match my success. He never had more than his 12 to 13 months. Okay. All right. Interesting response. So then I didn't, you know, I have a job, right? So I'm not on Twitter. So a few more tweets came out that I didn't before I could get to them, right? So then he replies with, the Mark Waid Ron Garney run that was supposedly the greatest ever sold around 25,000. Had a year to catch fire. Did not occur. My cap launched over 300,000 direct market and newsstand. My Avengers launch is the best selling of all time. Just the facts. Okay. At this point, I checked in and I caught this. So my reply was, Wade had an interesting response to what happened, including your offer to bringing on as a scripter before Loeb. Are you interested in chatting with us about your cap run? Perfect way to celebrate your 25-year anniversary. Right? So I'm
generous.
Generous,
again, but also, a professional.
We would like to have them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but no response. I got like five likes, but no response from Rob. So then, he then wrote another comment. I enjoy weighing in on spin with facts. Okay. Then he again responded to his own tweet, which was the one about, the Hail Mary with Wade, right? And the failed success. He wrote, for context, this is the tweet I responded to. The idea that Mark was removed, and he put removed in quotes, is inaccurate. I was launching September 1996 based on a contract negotiated from 1994 to 1995. Now, I never said Mark was removed, so he's quoting something, but he's really not quoting. He's more paraphrasing, and I get it, because I said he was pulled from cap, which, hey, could be the same thing as removed. So I'm not going to
could be reassigned. Could there's lots of things, right?
Right. I'm not going to quibble over the fact that he quoted a wrong word, but he's paraphrasing, which is fine. So I respond to this, and I wrote, true, but Mark and Ron didn't know that at the time. In their minds, they were removed, and we asked for their reactions in separate interviews. We have lots of questions for you if you're willing to chat. We'd like to celebrate your 25th anniversary, because it's the 25th anniversary of when Rob worked on Captain America. No response to that. And then someone had said something to the fact that, I guess, replied to one of his comments about the how much he sold and so on. Said, here's Rob flexing. And so he went ahead and tweeted, sharing facts isn't flexing, especially when you encounter errant spin. It's the best part of this platform. Just mute if you don't care for it. So now, Bob, I'm starting to get a little, right?
Yeah.
So I replied, sorry, how is asking for Mark's reaction to, quote, being pulled from cap for Rob Liefeld errant spin? He wasn't told there was a deal in place when he took the job or many months after. Fans want to know how he felt. If you want to provide your thoughts, we've offered to hear your side. Again, no response. And then he has a few other tweets. So, I don't know, Bob. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I don't think we were doing errant spin by asking the creator, whether it was Mark, whether it was Ron, how they felt being pulled from the book for Rob Liefeld, right?
Yeah.
Because now, to Rob's point, he may have negotiated this a long time before, but they didn't know that. They didn't take the job knowing that. Marvel didn't tell them that. So I think it was a legitimate question to ask them that. Why Rob responded the way he did, I don't know. But I will say, Rob, if you're listening, we'd love to talk with you about it. we love the fact that, there's a lot of people out there that appreciate the work that you did on the series. But I will say this, Bob. In our Facebook group, we have a rule. We have a few rules. If you're going to enter the group, you have to agree to the rules. If you don't agree to the rules, you're not in the group anymore. It's simple as that. And we base our group over the simple 4 words. What would Cap do?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so one of the rules is there's no creator bashing. There's no negativity. Allow people to like what they like. Now, I do a daily flashback in the Facebook group, and I go over a course of 50 years, and I show, in this month of, let's say, for example, April, here's what came out 50 years ago, 25 years ago, and so on. And inevitably, Bob, when we post the 6 issues that Rob Liefeld has done, what would you say has been the reaction every time we do that?
Well, let's just say it's contentious, right? It is a contentious. Those posts always seem to bring out, a passionate debate about the merits of those books.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we, as moderators in the group, have deleted a lot of comments, right? To stick with the no negativity rule, allow people to like what they like. What would Cap do? And so we've deleted a lot of comments. In some cases of repeated offenders, we've muted them. In some cases of just blatant, repeated offenders, we've kicked them out of the group. It's just, look, we're not here to see negativity. We don't, that you agree to these rules when you join the group.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, it's not something we take lightly and not something we enjoy doing. But we have removed some people from the group because they just don't like Rob Liefeld, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and we've had people quit the group over it too.
Yeah,
right.
True that. Yeah.
So we have gone above and beyond to defend Rob Liefeld in our group because we feel, what would Cap do?
Mm-hmm.
We know that there's people out there who love Rob Liefeld, and we love his work. And they got him into Cap. I mean, there's some great stories of people out there who really, really like him. Great. I thought, when he joined New Mutants, loved his work. It got me excited about, and I collected New Mutants because of him. I collected X-Force because of him, so, and I know there's other people out there, but I got to tell you, Bob, his reaction on Twitter, a few episodes ago when we covered, in episode 77, we did the Captain America Sentinel of Liberty 8 and 9, which had the first appearance of Sam Wilson as Captain America.
Yeah.
And there's a scene in one of the issues, the first issue, that Cap is defending the bad guys from the mob. This angry mob that's coming to storm their office. And he comes in there and he's like, look, I need to protect you from them, violence that they're coming on. And they didn't appreciate Captain America, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Cap's getting it from both sides, right? I kind of feel like that.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I've gone above and beyond to defend Rob Liefeld.
Yeah.
And he's upset because we asked the question to Mark how it felt, to be pulled from the book.
Yeah.
Now, if Rob wants to come on here and discuss it with us, great. I don't think he will, but we would love to have it. Maybe it's just all big misunderstanding. and he'll come on here and he'll chat with us, because again, we have lots of questions about his run, and it's a 25-year anniversary. But whatever happens, we're still going to stick with our rule. What would Cap do? Right.
Yeah.
And that is something that we will continue to do in the Facebook group.
And I would encourage anybody, who followed any of those tweets and or heard him here tonight to go listen to that interview and hear it straight from Mark's mouth, what his perspective was on the situation. Because, perspective can be different than from, objective reality, right? Everything's subjective. And so it's what he felt at the time. It's what he knew at the time.
Yeah. And for that matter, go listen to episode 39 when we talked to Ron Garney.
Yeah.
Right. And Ron Garney and how he felt about being pulled off the book at that time. Anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest. What it is, it's fine. And this again, too, is why we don't spend a lot of time on Twitter, because there's a plenty of people out there that just are negative. And, we don't, I personally, I don't have enough time in my day and my life to deal with negative people. So that's why we do what we do in our Facebook group. And that's why that's our main platform.
Yeah. Amen, brother.
All right. Speaking of positivity, Bob, we got another review on our podcast on Apple. We got another 5-star review. And just as a reminder, last episode, we did mention the 3 winners of the What Would Cap Do challenge coin. So KDF 021, RL Sharp 77, and Glover, Super Glover M25. Please send me an email with your information. And that is capcomicfans@gmail.com. All right. So our next review, Bob, comes from Ra Ta Seti. And Ra Ta Seti gives us a 5-star review that the title to it is "Thank Goodness, a True Captain America Podcast." So Ra Ta Seti writes, "Thank you for this show. I needed this. Cap is my favorite Marvel character, and I only found one show, but he hasn't downloaded one in 2 years. So on a whim, I typed in Captain America, and your show came. I will listen to an episode a day until I'm caught up. While I wish you were starting in the Golden Age, I'm happy by what I've seen. I read about 70% of all solo Cap books. I will be looking forward to the downloads. Thank you for an effort, and you have a listener forever."
Wow. That means we got to keep producing these shows forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as long as they keep producing Cap Comics, I think we're safe in that regard.
Yes, we're all right. Yeah.
All right, Bob. At the beginning of the show, I mentioned that we have a phone call.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. We have someone calling in, and they left us a message.
Hello, Bob. And your fuzzy-headed manservant said Batroc the Leaper, no? Oui. What is this, Batroc? Years of your silly podcast spotlighting one of Batroc's greatest shames. Pourquoi, Bob? Batroc thought after all those games of Pinnacles that we were friends. Why, when there are so many examples of Batroc's greatness in the comics, no? Oui. But there is more. Many do not realize that Batroc is also accomplished in other media. For example, Batroc was the chef in The Little Mermaid, no? Oui. Attendez. Les poissons, I love les... Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qui est à ma porte? Hein? Hello? Quoi? Oh, je connais. Oui, mais pardon, ma grand-mère est flambée. Oh, you fuzzy-faced fanboy. And Bob, this is all your fault. The blood-sucking attorneys for the mouse have shown up at Batroc's door and served him with this cease and desist letter, no? Oui. Oh, the shame. The unparalleled shame. First, this podcast involving Batroc shame, but at least then Batroc was therefore Captain America, no? Oui, but now Batroc has been reduced to being the enemy of the mouse is the pantaloon of the sob. The really big sob. Maintenant les enfants. Watch as Batroc uses the back window to escape and leap away in shameful defeat. Leap. 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 Oh, oh, oh.
Oh my gosh. I got like tears streaming down my face here.
Oh, are you sub? Are you sub? Wait a minute! I didn't know you were friends with Batroc.
Oh, we
apparently
go back.
I'm just the fuzzy-headed fanboy, and you were friends with. When did you become friends with Batroc?
Oh, way back.
I'm just the fuzzy-headed. I'm just the fuzzy-headed manservant. Oh,
Oh my goodness.
I am so hurt.
Yeah. Sub.
Oh, well, that actually, for those who have been a longtime listener of this podcast, that was no other than John Waller Sewell. He is a friend of the podcast, and he also produces some independent comics. So you may want to check out one of his books, which is called "Beautiful, Silly, and Terrible Things," which is a fun independent book. But you can go to beautifulsillyandterriblethings.com. So thanks, John, for calling in with your Batroc Zilipe impersonation. That's always a fun treat.
I think if the MCU needs to recast.
I agree. All right. Shall we get to issue 149?
Oh, yeah, we should do that.
Okay. The solicitation back in 1972 for this issue was Cap's long-awaited rematch with the blockbusting Batroc. And wait till you learn the Leaper's new secret identity. So this came out, it had a release date of February 15th, 1972, a cover date of May of 1972. The writer was Gerry Conway. So this was, I think I mentioned in the last episode, right? I think it was Gary Frederick. Is that who it was? Anyway, he came off his run. And so Gerry kind of came in as a kind of like a 4-issue fill-in, but followed by Steve Englehart. So before Steve Englehart kicked off his run, Gerry did these 4 issues. Now, the penciler was the great Sal Buscema, inked by Jim Mooney, lettered by Shelley Lefferman, and then the editor, Stan Lee. Now, if you were opening up and you're looking at the credentials in this book, it says Stan Lee, editor, and then Gerry, and then so on. So Stan Lee gets top billing as the editor, as opposed to typically the editor being, last.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the cover, which is this really cool cover by Gil Kane, and then inked by Frank Giacoia, it is the red, white, and blue Captain America logo with Cap on one side, Falcon on the other side, because it's Captain America and the Falcon, which was the series at the time. 20 cents, Bob. 20 cents got you this. And it has Cap holding up one of the goons and some 3 or 4 goons laying down underneath Cap's feet, and another goon with a gun pointed at Cap's back. But that doesn't seem to be the most perilous thing happening, Cap, here. It's it's Batroc de Lillipere, who is a master of savant, the art of kickboxing. He's actually driving into Cap's exposed ribs as he's holding a goon over his head, kicking into his side. And then in the background, you see Falcon punching out someone. It says, "They're back, Batroc's brigade." Now, the last time we saw Batroc, Bob, do you have any recollection of that?
I don't off the top of my head, Rick. I mean, he's had so many incarnations along the way. I can't remember what the one prior to this was.
Well, his appearances, I think this is only his, I want to say, sixth appearance. He appeared in Tales of Suspense back in 1966 for 2 issues in 75 and 76. And then he came back in 85 in 1967. So those are the 3 appearances in Tales of Suspense. And then he appeared early when Cap got his own book in 1968 with issue 105. And then he came back 2 years later in 1970 with issue 130. So here he is 2 years later in 1972. So we open up to the splash page, and it says, the title is All the Colors of Evil. And we have Falcon with Redwing up on a rooftop looking down on this van that is jetting through an inner city street, and it's late at night. Soft, the sounds of evening, the clatter of garbage cans, the hushed tapping of fading footsteps, the brief rumble of a distant truck, and nearer, other sounds, audible only to trained ears, the slamming of car doors, the scuffling of a sudden struggle, and a faint, plaintive cry for help. There, Redwing, unless I'm imagining things in my old age, someone was just pulled into that minibus. And if that means what I think it does, we've got to move fast. So we cut to the next page. His mind moves quickly, probing all possible courses of action, lighting on one, and in the instant of decision, acting. Redwing, go. Follow that van. And whatever you do, brother, don't let it out of your sight. And does the hawk cry in answer? Or is it the unthinking cry of a hunting animal? And Redwing flies off, and it does make a noise, Bob. This man doesn't question. To him, it matters little. These questions of thought and anthropomorphism, for him, the evening's search is almost over. A search that has taken him east and west, over the rooftops of Harlem. He is the Falcon, and tonight, for now, he fights alone. Alone, that is, but for Redwing. Redwing, the only witness to an uncanny transformation in the shadows of a trash-encrusted alley. What's going on in that scene, Bob?
Looks like that van has just popped open along the seams, and a Volkswagen Bug drives out of it.
It does indeed. Move, you fools, or didn't you see who's on our trail? I told you we shouldn't have bothered with that last kid. I told you. Cripes, can't this buggy check out any faster? Bug off, Goner. We're lucky it jives to hit it all. Redwing, a mute witness to what has occurred, unable to relay the information he gathered, even as the Falcon arrives a moment too late, and because of it, sees only an innocent Volkswagen, where, if Redwing could speak, the Falcon would have seen much more. I know, friend. We've lost him. That really burns you, doesn't it? Well, take it easy, little brother. Old Sam Wilson ain't letting up for hours yet. I'll find that blasted van, even if I have to search till dawn. So then we cut to another panel here, and we see Captain America sitting in a chair with a lot of looks like electronic equipment around him, and I think he's in SHIELD headquarters. We'll have time enough later to examine the Falcon's reasons for wanting to find that minibus and its mysterious passengers. Right now, let's turn to SHIELD headquarters, where a certain brooding Avenger is examining the path his life has been following and finding that path wanting. Just the man I've been looking for. Who? Fury. Good Lord, man. You should know by now that kind of stunt can net you a broken arm. Especially from an old crust like Captain America, right? Don't hand me that big man routine, because when you lay it on the line, I'll give even odds a guy named Nick Fury could lick you with his hands in his pockets, which is kind of why I'm here, mister. And so here comes Nick Fury, chomping a lit cigar, coming through the doorway, pointing at Cap. We're a lot alike, you and me. A pair of Joes caught out of time. When we were kids, the big threat was a crazy Austrian named Schickelmacher. Who was that, Bob?
Schickelgruber.
Schickelgruber.
Yeah, wasn't that big old Adolf? Adolf Schickelgruber?
I thought his name was Hitler.
Mm-hmm. I know. I believe his family name was Schickelgruber.
No kidding. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. I believe so. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, Mom, reading comics does teach me things.
Mm-hmm. And anthropomorphism. That's 5 syllables, Rick.
I know. And I think it just rolled off my tongue, didn't it?
It did. It's beautifully done.
I was quite eloquent. And that atom bomb was something you read about in dime magazines. What I'm trying to say, Avenger, is this. We work good together, Cap. Real good. So how about hooking up with men? Okay,
folks.
It's okay. It wasn't men. It was MEN. All right. So he's saying me and it was shortened to mean, which I couldn't read with my bad eyes, the hyphen. So I said, how about hooking up with men? Yeah. All right. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Well, you just read all those dog store magazines. So what the hell?
Yeah. So how about hooking up with me and SHIELD permanently? Nick, nothing would please me more. You've got to believe that. But the simple fact is, I can't. What do you mean you can't? Just that, Nick. I've got a friend, a partner, who's depending on me more than either of us realize. I can't walk on the Falcon, Nick. There's just no way. And he gets up to walk away from Nick. Yeah? Well, maybe you think that settles it, big man. Maybe you think you can keep waltzing in here like the place was yours. But, Buster, that's where you're wrong. And he comes at Cap, throwing a punch. A man's got to make commitments, friend. Otherwise, he's a leech, a blasted parasite. That's just what you've been dishing out, pal. And, mister, I've had it. Fury, what? But Cap dodges the punch. Easy, Nick. Just calm down. I'm not about to fight you. We've been through too much to end it like that. Maybe you'd like to end it some other way, Avenger. After all, you're the big man. And then Cap kind of just stands there and thinks to himself, something's eating Fury. Unless I back off, he'll drag us both into a brawl. And I can't let that happen. Not to us. What's the matter, Rogers? Lost for words? Well, I'm not, mister. I've got 2 of them. Get out, pal. That's 3, right?
I'm not a math guy, but I think that is 3.
Oh, okay. If you don't need SHIELD, then SHIELD doesn't need you. I don't get it. Could it have anything to do with... And then he sees Sharon Carter and Val. Oh, Bob, there's Val.
Val.
You got a little thing for her.
I do. I like Val.
Yeah, I know you do. Val and Sharon Carter. Maybe they can. The intercom. Attention. This is Fury. As of now, Captain America is off limits to all SHIELD personnel. He has received no cooperation. I repeat, no cooperation. Any SHIELD operative found dealing with Captain America will get a personal reprimand from me. And this applies specifically to Agent 13. This is Fury, out. And then Val walks with her hand on a very sad-looking Sharon Carter away. Soon in the barbershop, S.H.I.E.L.D. keeps as a front for their exiting agents. And how does that work, Bob?
How does the barbershop work? It's a very sophisticated operation, Rick. You walk into the barbershop, you sit down in the barbershop chair, and it magically lowers you into the bowels of the earth where S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters is located.
What if I just want to shave and a haircut, Bob?
Yeah, I think you might want to say that is before you sit down.
Oh, okay.
Make that clear.
Well, in this case, it was reverse, right? It's coming from the bowels, as you said, coming back up into the barbershop. And then the barber who's standing there says, Cap, I'm sorry, but I can't. It's okay, Joe. Thanks for giving me a ride on your pneumatic chair, at any rate. Maybe when Nick gentles down, I'll see you again. Perhaps I should have said if Nick gentles down. Whatever's bugging him seems to have bitten deep, and that kind of burn doesn't ease up quickly. In the meantime, Sharon and I will have to stop seeing each other, no matter how much we need or want to. So, Bob, one of these things, like this book here, is 50 years old.
Yeah.
We're reading a 50-year-old story.
Right.
So one of the fun things about that is not only seeing the clothing and the styles and the cars and the
technology.
Yeah, awesome. Right. Some of it is also the phraseology. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. He says, if Nick gentles down.
Right.
I don't recall ever hearing that. I mean, settles down.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Quiets down.
Calms down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Gentles down. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. Nor have I.
Maybe this was Gerry Conway's way of trying to introduce something and it just didn't catch on.
That could be. Yeah. No guts, no glory.
Stepping away from the shadowed storefront, he moves along the twilight. That's not written twilight. Twilight. Okay. The twilight streets, his thoughts winding in ever-tightening spirals which keep returning him to uneasy memories, thoughts of Sharon, of the girl agent called Val. Thoughts which break off minutes later as he passes a darkened pawn shop and realizes, and he sees a clock. The time. I am almost forgotten. No matter what Captain America's personal problems may be, Steve Rogers still has certain obligations. So, and then we cut to the next panel, and we have Steve Rogers in his police uniform. Bob, you want to explain what's going on here for those who may not be aware of Captain America in a police uniform?
Yeah, I can't remember what issue was that? Was that back in I don't know, 139 or something, right? I can't remember off the top of my head, but anyway, he donned the police officer's uniform originally to conduct an investigation at the behest of the police commissioner, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so during this period in Steve Rogers' career, he has been a police officer with not the best of luck, but it was an interesting period of his career. So he walks into the police headquarters. Rogers, man, you must lead a charmed life. 5 minutes ago, the Sarge came through here like a tornado, looking for you, Steve Areno. Guess I better report before he finds me on his own. Sarge, were you looking for me? Hold on a minute till I finish this blasted report. You'd think we were back in grade school doing some crummy English composition. Now, where was I? Yeah, Rogers. Somebody's bucking for you upstairs. Either that or the captain's gone soft these past few weeks. You've been transferred to a patrol car, Rogers, and before you do, don't ask me why. Because, rookie, I'm blamed if I know. But do me one favor, will you, Rogers? Don't blow this assignment. I'm kind of tired of seeing your ugly mutton in the day room. Get me? Sure, Sarge. I'll do my best. Yet, as he leaves the close stench of well-chewed cigars, he can't help but wonder, the way Muldoon talked to me, was this patrol car post his idea? Maybe I haven't been fair. He comes on hard, but it might be because he has to. New York's a tough town. It needs tough cops. Muldoon's job is to make them that way. And as he settles in next to his new partner, Stephen Rogers feels a smile mold on his face. And he does it too. Tough men, but good men. Men like Muldoon. And then as his eyes follow the movement of men and women through the Midtown Theater District, he sees this guy. How would you describe this guy dressed as?
I've never seen anyone dressed like that, Rick, but he's going with the purple turtleneck and the sort of the plaid sport coat, a nice green felt hat, dark sunglasses, and sort of a hipster beard and a very oddly familiar mustache.
It is oddly familiar. In fact, Steve thinks to himself, that man, I've seen him somewhere before, but I can't place him. Something about his clothes? Maybe that's it. The clothes are all wrong. Think, Rogers. Look beyond that snap brim hat and think, where have you seen that man before? And as the patrol car continues its rounds, the tall man in question enters a nearby alley, reaches for a battered wooden door, and moving with grace, strange for one so large, he climbs the flight of worn stairs, passing through yet another door. There in a room crisscrossed by skylight-webbed moonlight, he makes a quick transformation. His movements reveal lithe muscles, a hidden tension in every twist and fold of skin. Under his feet, the creaking boards betray his weight, a weight unlikely for his size. And then as he's changing his clothes, we see the thought bubbles. The moment approaches, and as ever, I must be ready for it. The last shipment arrives within the hour. And then we cut into a half-page splash of Batroc the Leaper in his full uniform. And when they come, they will be met by Batroc the Leaper. And then there's a little asterisk by his name, Bob. What is that for?
It informs you that if you find it difficult plowing through the Leaper's thick Gallic accent, wait till you catch some of our fancy French quotes. Signed, the studious but weary Stan.
Yeah, there are some French quotes in here, Bob. I'm totally gonna bastardize them.
All right,
I'll do my best. The past few months, the furtive hiding. Soon it will all be over. Soon Batroc will be his own master once more. And no man will dare disobey him. No man will mock him. Batroc will have the power over all. And that's Batroc the Leaper for those of you who don't speak French. So I turned the page, Bob, and next page is Batroc. You know what he's doing?
He's doing some workouts, man. This is what I do when I get home.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How's that weight loss going?
It's progressing.
Progressing, that could be taken as I'm gaining weight.
Let's just say
I personally am progressing.
I don't think let's just I'm not gaining, but I'm just sort of hovering.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Light, if you're hovering, you're like light as a feather.
Yeah, I'm hovering. So,
yes. Even as I mastered the art of la savate, the ancient form of combat with the feet, so too will I master those who oppose me, and those I cannot control, I will strike like I strike the bag, and like the bag, they will be destroyed. For that is the way of Batroc. That is the way of honor. But enough of these things. I go tired of my voice. Mes amis, entres, we have need to plan. And then coming in is like half a dozen of these like garbed men, big muscle men. Wordless, they move silently into the room. Tall, broad men whose eyes tell of no emotion, whose very stance is cold and cruel. As always, mon chers, your silence appalls me. Do you find this affair without humor? None? But it is so very amusing, mon chers amis. You of Batroc's brigade, and I, the leaper himself, hired by a man whose name we do not know, hired for a purpose we cannot understand. Is it not droll? We prove ourselves slaves, we who are so free are but servants to our greed. For in the end, we do obey the dollar, do we not, mes amis?
Batroc, the philosopher.
Oui. Next page, we see the Falcon. A few hours later, and some 94 blocks uptown, a wary figure drops to Harlem tenement fire escape, his mind churning with mixed rage and fear. Red Wing, whenever there's something I don't understand, I get a little scared. And Dark Brother, right now, I'm more than a little scared. This is one dude who's chasing around in circles. I must have checked out every square inch of 30 blocks, and it all comes up 0. Wherever those creeps, and then he's in his apartment getting dressed, changing from Falcon uniform to his Sam Wilson attire. But there's a phone. There's a phone ringing. The phone, and I don't know what it's about. His voice softens, and the man called Falcon returns to shadow life, while Sam Wilson, social worker, rises grimly to the surface. Mrs. Santiago, no, I haven't found Paul yet. What? Another one? Stay there, Mrs. Santiago. I'll be right over. And then who's there but Layla, Sam's girlfriend? And she's, I don't know, she's always giving Sam a hard time. Right? Like she's got a little bit of a tude.
Yeah, she's always got that.
Yeah. And she got her arms crossed. You know what I'm talking about, girlfriend?
Yep. This is how my wife, it looks exactly how my wife looks at me whenever I say, can I have a lecture for my allowance this week? You know, What'd you do with last week's?
Going somewhere, Mr. Wilson? Or maybe you've got time for a few passing words. Layla, look, honey, I can't what, sweetheart? No time for little Layla? I wouldn't want to steal precious minutes. Not from your heroic Uncle Tomming around. What? Shut up, Layla. You can come if you want to, but if you do, you'll have to hustle. And he grabs her wrist and pulls her. Soon, on a dim-lit side street near the West Side Highway, Mr. Wilson, what shall we do? My little Rico. Now he too is gone. They all go. Paul, Rico, even Juan. Easy, Mrs. Santiago. It'll be okay now. Tell me, what happened? Tell you what has happened? How can I, when I do not understand it? First they take my little Paul, and then Juan, he too vanishes. And now, please, Mrs. Santiago, let's go inside. You can talk about it there. And then Layla says something really not very nice.
Not nice.
Yeah. If the rats will let her get her words in edgewise, cut it, Layla. The words come slowly, but when they do, they tell a story of horror. One that softens even Layla's anger for a moment. And that's the way it's been all week, Layla. Kids have been disappearing all over Harlem. Maybe in the other boroughs, too, for all I know. Vanishing into thin air. And that's all you can say? What more is there? The cops are baffled, honey. The cops? You expect them to help us? Brother, where have you been the past 10 years? Forget them. What are you planning to do, Mr. Wilson? I'll do what I've been doing, Layla. In other words, you'll do nothing. Seems I've made a mistake about you, Sam Wilson. I used to think you were a man. Ouch.
It's not the kind of support a guy like Sam needs.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, gotta tell you, I don't know what he sees in her.
I don't either. Really.
I mean, she probably,
I do know, but yeah.
We will
right,
know.
Yeah.
All right. Blasted. What can I tell her? That I'll keep tracking them as the Falcon? Sometimes I think I should chuck the whole deal. Just forget it and maybe start over again. Thus, it's one very hot Sam Wilson who returns to his office a few minutes later to find you. Finally got my message, huh? Thanks a lot, friend. And who's there waiting for him, Bob? Next page.
Oh, it's the man.
It is. It's Captain America. I don't know what message you're talking about, Sam. I haven't been back to my hotel, but believe me, something's come up that's more important. Something I saw in the theater district. Stow it, Cap. If you're here to grab my help battling some super baddie, you've come to the wrong Joe. There's something happening to my people, Cap. And what goes down with the brothers is what's on my mind right now. I've got my own game to play, Cap. So right now, I can't play yours. And then Sam's putting on his Falcon uniform. I'm sorry you feel that way, Sam. Maybe later we'll get a chance to talk. But like you, I've got other things on my mind. I thought I recognized a man a couple of hours ago down on 46th Street. Now that I'm off duty, it seems like a good idea to check it out, which I will. And if it's a dud, I'll be back to help you, my friend. Thanks, Cap. No problem, old buddy. So they go their separate ways. And 15 minutes later, I suppose I should have stayed to hear Sam out. But after what I remembered a little while ago, this just couldn't wait. Because unless my memory's fallen completely apart, the man I saw enter this studio was none other than a certain French mercenary. So he goes to where he saw Batroc enter. Like a cat, he lands noiselessly on the balls of his feet, leaning forward, listening for some telltale sound of movement until click. And it's Batroc turning on the light. Ah, it appears we have a guest. Hello, mon ami. And then we meet again. Perhaps this time we may amend our differences. Batroc, I think we have a score or two to settle, friend. But of course, and you are welcome to try, mon cher. It will amuse me till the time for parting comes. Leaper, you're not going anywhere. Hold on, Bob. I need to.
Je ne suis pas d'accord.
Is that how you pronounce it?
That's it.
Hold on. Je ne suis pas d'accord, ma chère amie. I disagree. So that was French for I disagree, my dear friend. You seem ignorant of what is happening here. C'est dommage. It is a pity, but I have no time to explain. Then don't try, Batroc. I'm in the mood for a real free-for-all, and it looks like you're it. Mon cher Capitan, I am flattered. And they start kicking and jumping at each other. Be as flattered as you want, Leaper. Like I said, I'm bringing you in. Now we talk like the American gangsters, no? Good. I like the melodrama. Call it what you want, friend. I'm working up a real mad. My nerves are shot, and I'm taking it out on you. Oui, as you will, mon ami. As you will. And they kicks the shield. Maybe you're getting old, Batroc. The man I knew would have never forgotten about my shield. Now talk, Batroc. What's going on here? I knew you, and you sure would haven't settled down to open up a dance studio. And then he trips Cap. Oui, that is true, but I am doing You Shall Never Discover. Oh, then nice uppercut on Batroc. Guess again, Batroc. You met me on the wrong day. I have what I've been through these past few hours. I'm just itching to take someone apart. And friend, that's just your bad luck. And he punches him down. And now spill it, Leaper, or do I have to waltz with you some more? No. Do not bother, Emmy. I see I have made an error. Perhaps I have forgotten our battles. Yet now I realize the Leaper needs aid. Au secours. And in this case, the help comes in the form of Bratroc's brigade. So, au secours, guess what that means, Bob?
Help?
Yes. We. And then, as I described the brigade before, seven of them. That's just great. Looks like a hopeless fight for anyone but Captain America. Swinging his shield like a club, he throws himself into their midst like a living thunderbolt, his eyes burning with the rage of battle, his teeth bared like some primitive warrior. Yet, in each movement, there is nobility, a sense of timeless honor, an honor that fights on, even when the odds, perhaps the very world, seem set against them. Needless to say, he doesn't feel the blow that cuts him down. Then we cut to the next page, and we see a guy in Harlem walking down an alley, or walking down a street, I should say, and he's about to be abducted. At that moment, on a quiet stretch on 8th Avenue, a lonely man called Dux strolls warily along. Under the cheap plaid material of his jacket, his shoulders move uneasily, and perhaps from time to time he glances into the shadows crawling beside him, his head moving furtively on a twisting neck. Then he sighs. He seems to grow calmer. For an instant, his wariness fades, and in that instant, his destiny strikes, and an arm pulls out of the alley and grabs him. I got some questions for you, Dux. And little Stoolie, you had better have answers. And it's the Falcon with Red Wing. 1, who's been picking kids off the streets? 2, why? And 3, where are those ducks? Where are they? Hey, wait. Hey, don't hit me, Falcon. I'll tell you. There's been a lot of talk about some out-of-town combine. The words to lie low, that they've holed up in a warehouse on 94th Street. That's their power behind them. Real power. I swear, brother, that's all I know. That'll do, Ducks. You've given me the lead I need. Now come on, Red Wing. Let's get out of this hole. The stench is a little strong. Too strong. And just as a reminder of this time period, how the Falcon is not flying away.
That's a good point, Rick. Right. He's crawling his way up to the tops of the buildings.
Yes, he has his little grappling hook that's on his wrist that he used to swing around. Soon, some 8 blocks south, on a lonely moonlit rooftop. Don't like it, boss. Why hasn't he called us? Give them time, Gunner. Maybe he's caught up in something, you know? Yeah, well, what if we're caught up with this kid, boss? I mean, kidnapping's a life offense, you know? Don't sweat it, Gunner. If it comes to that, we won't get caught with this kid. I promise you. And we see the Falcon on top of the building, and he's found them. With a snarl of rage, the grim-faced shadow above lunges. His weight snaps the restraining links of the ancient grating, And before the startled men below can move, the Falcon! Falcon lands. You've got it, friend. Now, before I tear you three apart, where's the kid? Forget it, brother. You'll never find him alive. Mister, believe me, you just better be wrong. And then Falcon makes short work of the three guys. And as abruptly as it began, the fighting ends. The others are bolting, but Red Wing will keep them in sight. I only need one of them anyway to do this. And he grabs one of the guys and he holds him outside of a window, Bob. Talk, friend, or I let go and you fall 6 floors down. Okay. The kid's in a Volks on the first floor. Go on, pal. Who's running this operation and why? Some guy on 46th Street. He was supposed to call us. We sent the kid to him. Believe me, mister, I don't know why. Honest. Next page. Falcon pulls him in and hits him unconscious. Don't worry, pal. I believe you. Moments later, in the street-level garage, Red Wing. So that was what you were trying to tell me before. They must have hidden that bug in the larger van. But that doesn't matter now. I should be able to unlock this trunk with this bit of wire. Done. And it opens up, and there's one of the missing kids in there. It's all right, kid. You can come out now. Wow. I thought I was over for good, man. The way those guys talk. Just take it easy, friend. And when you catch your breath, do me a favor and call the cops. And soon a swinging form lifts into the night and moves to a final meeting with destiny. While in a certain abandoned dance studio in the more run-down sector of the theater district, Les détenez, mes amis. He is a clever one. You're pretty good with orders, Batroc. How about a few explanations? Explanations, mon capitaine. You heard me, mister. What's the purpose of the layout, these goons? Who are you working for, Batroc, and why? The why is simple, mon cher. As always, Batroc is the mercenary. As for who the leaper obeys, that I cannot say. For in truth, I do not know. Now, what I do, that I can show you, cher ami, for all is not what it seems. Good Lord, man, what have you done? And he opens up a window to show a bunch of children that are in these like tubes, Bob.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't seem right.
It seems off, yeah.
Done? Is it not obvious? The children are all from over New York. Children from ghettos, children from orphanage. All of them are brought to me, and I hold them until the man who pays me to do this chooses to appear. Batroc, you're mad. If you think I'm going to let you get away with this. But, mon ami, you have no choice. Andre, hit him. And so, Cap's been held down this entire time by several men. And one guy is supposed to come by in the back with a club to hit Cap from behind in the head. I try, master, but he is so strong. And then coming from above, breaking through a windshield, is the Falcon. Strong and no longer alone. Falcon. You expected the Fantastic Four? Bob, I got to say, in the pages of Captain America, I'm not talking miniseries. I'm not talking, those types of things. But in the pages of Captain America, in the several, like we're up to, past 9 volumes with the new stuff coming out of Captain America, I don't recall the Fantastic Four appearing in a Captain America issue.
You're right. I don't recall any either. Huh.
Right?
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? I mean, considering the sort of centrality of the Fantastic Four to the Marvel Universe.
Right.
Especially
All right. So
early on. Yeah.
So listeners, all right, we're baffled. If you can recall any issue that has the Fantastic Four in a Captain America regular series, so volume 1 through volume 9, right? The 55-year history of 54-year history, whatever, of Captain America solo stories. If you could remind us of any Fantastic Four appearances, and I'm not talking like a cameo, like a one panel, sorry Cap, we can't help you, type of thing, which may have happened, but like a legitimate story that involved the Fantastic Four appearing Captain America. Please comment in our post. So we get back to the Falcon and Cap battling the Brigade. I mean it. Let's face it, Cap. We're fated to fight together. I gather our two cases coincide, friend, but we'll work that part out later. Right now, I've got a score to settle. And Cap goes to reach for his shield. I think not, mon ami. For in the ultimate battle, it is Batroc who must win. But Cap picks up the shield just in time before Batroc's feet hit his face. You sure blocked that blow, but it cannot block every blow, cher ami. In the end, one will connect. You said it, big man. One will. And then he punches Batroc in the face. Nice play, Cap. Now, how about helping me? I've got 7 to handle. Wrong, Falk. You got 6. And he throws his shield and knocks one of them out. Uh-huh. That's one I owe you, Cap. And it looks like that same guy with the club. He was about to come up behind Cap.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming up behind the Falcon. It's like, is that all that guy has? Is that like, I'm going to take this wooden club and run up behind people when they're not looking. Is that like that his like one shtick?
It's his specialty.
I'll collect later, Falcon. Right now, I'll ask our friend one more time. Who's your boss, Leaper? Again, mon ami, I do not know. Perhaps it is time we all learned, we? He may yet pull victory from this black defeat, and Batroc's honor may still be saved. Cap, he's going for some sort of switch. That light, bursting, blinding. Mon Dieu, I swear I did not know. That's obvious, Batroc. But who? And then on this last panel of this past page, we see this gigantic, enormous figure, and he says, "Men call me the Stranger." Next issue, the Child Buyer. Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah, right. It's wow.
All right, so on this next issue, we get to 150. Now, where I come from, Bob, in my memory of all things comics, issues like 150 are a big deal, right? They're like anniversary type issues. Like usually something special happens in an issue 150.
Yeah.
Right. In an issue 50 and an issue 100, an issue 150, an issue 200.
Yeah.
Like these are like special issues, but honestly, this is not a special issue.
It's not. No, it wasn't. Marketing opportunity was lost.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a shame. But yeah, this came out in March, mid-March, 1972. had a cover date of June 1972. And like before, it has a cover by Gil Kane, although this one also has John Romita and John Costanza on it. And then I think pretty much the same. Well, no, not really. I mean, Gerry Conway and Sal Buscema are back. But the inkers this time are John Verputten and Tony Mortellaro. Letterer Art Simic. And then, of course, we still have Stan Lee as the editor. The solicitation for issue 150 is The Stranger Strikes from Space, but so does the monster known as Jakar, and Earth's Caught in the Middle. Do you know who Jakar is, Bob?
Yeah, he is the he invented Drakkar Noir, wasn't it? The classic cologne and aftershave combination.
Oh, wait. Oh.
Played a big part in my puberty years.
Yeah. Did you like to throw a little Jakar?
Oh yeah, a little Drakkar Noir. Yeah, that was yeah.
Oh man,
that was my thing.
Do you remember the day? I mean, I was about to say thank God these days are over, but they're probably not. It's just probably my days are over, right? Like I'm not in the scene anymore where men wear, some sort of cologne and walk around into a bar, and,
right? Yeah.
I'm sure it still happens. It probably still happens. My days are over of doing that.
I walk by and people don't go, "Who's that guy?" It doesn't happen. No, nobody. No.
What was your cologne of choice back in the day?
Oh, back in the day, I wasn't a big cologne guy. Once I left high school, I wasn't either. Not really a big cologne guy. But there have been times along the way. Gives me a headache. Where some girl I was dating for a while or something said, "Oh, I want you to wear this," and I think it was like Eternity, Calvin Klein Eternity, or one girl, I think she liked Curve, which
what? Never heard of that one.
Yeah. So I wore them for as long as I was dating, and then threw them in the trash after. So
I know.
But my son is into it now.
No.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So he's not doing Monty Python, but he is doing cologne.
Yeah, he's doing,
I gotta say, Bob, you're not raising him right.
I know. His mom bought him like a
Your mom. Oh, well, hold on. We have to pause there.
Yeah.
Nice little Freudian slip.
Yeah, his mom.
Yeah, right, yeah. My mom.
She got like the $14 bottle at, I think, Marshall's, I'm like, the good stuff. So yeah. Like you gotta use that fast, man.
Are we back in the 1800s or you're like, hey Ma, how you doing? Storms are coming.
Better go get those potatoes in. Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, I gotta tell you, back in the day, I had a bottle of Polo.
Oh, Polo. Good for you, man. Good for you. Living it up, doing that.
Yeah.
Matching shirt, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Collar up.
Oh, maybe I had the collar up. You never know. You never know. You never know. No, back then I had, and I would just, you would take the bottle and put your finger over the top and you turn it upside down.
Oh yeah.
And then put it back up. And then whatever moisture was on your finger, you dabbed on the neck here on this side. And you dabbed it on the neck on that side. If you did more than that, I got to tell you, you were doing too much.
Yeah. A little dab will do you.
Totally.
Yeah. Oh man, the things listeners get from this show, the little sort of like life hacks.
Yes. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So for all the 12-year-olds out there that are just getting into cologne and aftershave and things like that, like Bob's son, yes, we're telling you right now, a little dabble do.
I bet that we probably have some of our contemporaries out there, guys in their, their late 40s, early 50s are probably going, son of a, I've been doing it wrong the whole time.
I know, right? They're kind of like, what?
Nobody told me that.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. No, you're totally right. I can vision it now, I can vision it now. Like just one.
Just one, yeah.
One of our hundreds and hundreds of listeners is going, son of a gun.
Why did somebody put that on the box?
Yeah. Hold on. I'm going back a few episodes. Ready?
Yeah.
Great googly moogly. Oh, by the way, if you were on Twitter and the Mark Wade episode was the one where I said to my hello to you was great googly moogly, right?
Right.
And somebody on Twitter, God bless him, because it means he listened to the episode, right?
Right. Yeah. Which is more than Rob did. Yeah,
yeah, probably right. And he said, where did it come from? Googly moogly. Oh God, I'm going to lose it now. But he was like, oh, well, great googly moogly was also used in.
What?
Yeah, it was something else.
Oh my God, who knew we had experts in
Hold
such
on.
matters?
I'm looking it up. Oh, here it is. By the way, not sure it's the origin of the phrase, but Frank Cho, Frank Cho? Who's the not Frank Cho. Is it Frank Cho?
The penciler, the artist?
Yeah, Frank Cho. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, he said he used the Twitter handle, which is not Frank Cho, but in my mind, I knew it was Cho, but yeah, it's Frank Cho. He goes, by the way, not sure if it's the origin of the phrase, but Frank Cho used the term great googly moogly in the excellent and sadly unfinished Liberty Meadows.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Wow.
I know, right? Hey, listen.
Fans of the phrase.
Listen, Chris D. Bowen, who is on Twitter. If you're listening to this episode, thanks for reminding me. I am a big fan of Frank Cho, and I did first learn of Frank Cho back in the day of Liberty Meadows, way before we got into comic books. I loved reading Liberty Meadows, and I do recall, now that you mentioned that, great googly moogly was used in that comic strip. Did you ever read Liberty Meadows?
I haven't. No.
Oh, you're missing out.
Yeah.
Totally missing out. It's funny. So back and we're we're known for our going off on tangents. So apologize to any of our new listeners. Yeah. So back in the 80s, I was a big fan of Bloom County.
Okay. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Berkeley bred.
Yeah.
Loved Opus, loved Build the Cat, loved Steve Dallas, loved Milo Bloom, the Anxiety Closet. Yeah. You could go on and on and on. Loved Bloom County. That was my favorite comic strip by far. I had all the collections. I now have them. If you want to check them out, I want to say, is it Boom? One of the comic publishers, I could be wrong. I don't know if it's Boom or if it's someone else, published these hardcover anthologies of the Bloom County collection. And my father-in-law every year gets me a new volume. Huh. That's like for 6 years now. Right? Yeah. So I have these really nice hardcover volumes of Bloom County, and it takes you from the very beginning through. I don't know if you know, but after Bloom County was over, Berkeley left, and then he came back and he did this only Sunday comics version called Opus, called Outland. I take that back. Called Outland, which featured Opus and Build a Cat and a few other things. So it takes you through all that. Wow. Again, Apologies to the publisher out there. I want to say it's Boom. I could be wrong, but yeah. So if you liked Bloom County, you would really like Liberty Meadows.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll
Check it out.
Yeah.
There are soft covers, there are hardcover collections of Liberty Meadows by Frank Cho.
Mm-hmm.
And I highly recommend it. Is it's a funny comic strip that has, just like Bloom County, has a bunch of animal characters that are anthropomorphic. Hey, there's a word we used earlier today.
Yeah.
That, interact with humans. And then Frank Cho, if you're not familiar, draws a pretty lady.
Okay.
And
enough said.
Yes. And being that, Bob, I know how much you like a Val de Condesta.
Who doesn't? Yeah.
You might like Frank Cho's work on Liberty Meadows.
Right,
just saying.
All right. She's a tall drink of water. Yeah.
All right. I got to get back to the comic, Bob. You sidetracked me.
I'm sorry.
Where were we?
On the cover.
On the cover. Oh God, this episode's gonna last forever. So we're on the cover of 150, and we have the guy who shows up at the end of issue 149, and he's wearing a 1972 costume.
Right. Yeah.
It's the best I can describe it.
It looks like Robin from Batman and Robin goes to the disco.
Sure. I mean, it definitely has the red tighty whities, and the bare legs, but he has green boots. Mm-hmm. He's got a green cape, a bare arms and bare legs, and then over his chest plate, some sort of orange red V that pokes up on either side of his head.
It's an odd fashion choice for sure. I don't know the practicality of it, but.
And then Captain America is in some sort of glass dome, and Falcon is some sort of glass dome, but they're breaking out, Bob. They're breaking out. And it says at the bottom of the cover, trapped in the bottles of death by the new super powerful stranger. Inside, opening splash page. One burning instant, and he comes with a roar like the rending of time and space, wind screaming, churning in sudden displacement, the very air seeming to twist and fold in on itself. The stranger comes. They turn away, each muscle and nerve reacting in primitive fear, and like some arcane echo, his laughter rings in their minds and knifes through their very souls. The title to this one is called Mirror, Mirror. Hey, Bob, maybe moving forward, when I say the title to this one is, maybe moving forward, you could start naming the title. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah. All right. Yeah, all right.
Let's start now.
Vocal exercise. I'm gonna start doing my vocal exercises. All right.
I'm gonna start now. And the title to this one is called
Mirror, Mirror.
Nice. and so we have the stranger with some Kirby Crackle behind him. And if you don't know what Kirby Crackle is, look it up. I'm tired of explaining it.
Google it.
Go on the Google. And Cap's there with his shield up. In heaven's name, who? Mon ami, did you not hear? He calls himself the stranger, and well, he is. You should know, Batroc. It's your fault he's here. Your fault, mister. Falcon's not happy. Why'd you do it, Leaper? Kidnapping those kids, holding them prisoner for him. Why? I swear it, cher ami. I did not know. L'argent, the money was all that concerned me. That's a little obvious, Batroc, but right now, it couldn't matter less. This bruiser's here to collect those children, and with or without your permission, Batroc, he's going to be stopped. For what it is worth, mes chéris, you have that permission. Thanks a lot, Batroc. Let's move. Yet even as they lunged forward, eyes raging in anger. No, my friends, you will not move. You will remain still. And then there's like this blast that comes from the stranger's hands over top of the three of them. And so you will stay until my wound tells you otherwise. So low, only their sharpest nerves can detect it. There comes a paralyzing wail. And in that self-same divided instant, the stranger makes a grim, offhand gesture, and all time slows, and in that moment, stops. Now, my puny friends, your behavior seems more fitting. You have become as much as an annoyance as those silent cubs you seek to protect. Your minds have been removed, but the briefest second from this hairy plane of existence, and you stand now as helpless observers, able to hear, perhaps even to see, but totally apart from those energies which futilely boil within you. Perhaps now you may fully appreciate this moment. You may even understand its significance. When I first appeared before you, I named myself the stranger. Yet now that ploy seems ill played. It appears you've never encountered that star-striding alien, and so this revelation does not contain the depth of irony it might. In a way, I am the stranger with whom I spoke, in the way that a reflection is that which it mirrors. For in the truth, I am far more. I am all that he could be, and all that he is. I am Jakar. And he reveals his face. And it,
I mean, I would have kept it hidden.
yeah, he's not a very good looking man. Yeah.
No.
But he is a little bit more ominous looking, would you say?
I would definitely say that.
Yeah. Well, why didn't you, Bob? Why do I always have to say it?
I know, which is strange because you are the manservant.
I'm the fuzzy-headed manservant, according to Batroc.
Right.
Yes. Silently, then, he turns. At his sides, his fingers move in some nervous gesture. His body seems to tremble with knowledge of the power it contains. Slowly, he looks bitterly upward, and there, in the dust-laden air of the moldering studio, a grim image begins to form. And as it does, he says, in a hollow, haunted voice, "My friends, there are worlds, and worlds besides worlds, of which you may never dream. And this doomed nightmare of a planet is my world, in a dimension that lies parallel to your own. A plane of existence so distant, your minds would crumble with the effort to conceive its location. Here, my race lived in peace. Peace born of being completely and permanently alone. For you see, we were alone, more totally than any race before us. 2 millennia ago, some cosmic catastrophe had crushed our galaxy, destroying all stars, all nebulae, all life-bearing planets, save our own unfortunate world. For 200 agonizing centuries, we strove to discover if any other sentient race had somehow survived. But we strove in vain. Ours was the last. None but us had weathered that galactic plague. And in the end, After 2,000 years of tortuous solitude, even we succumbed. Describe the plague, explain its cause, its carrier. Oh, would that I could, my friends, but I have no answer, and I could tell you only this. For reasons I may never understand, I alone survived that single eve of unearthly terror. I alone awoke the next cold morrow to find myself upon the lonely peak where I'd been working to find the others silent. This I know, the plague affects the mind. It destroys the vital life essence in the brain, sending its victims into a paralytic coma. All of its victims, even the lovely Carrie Lee, my wife. It was then, as I curled in self-pity, that the miracle occurred. Whether my thoughts activated the warp effect or whether it was some other more providential influence, I'll never know. But in that instant, there appeared a rift in the barrier between our dimensions, and I saw the man four of your colleagues called the Stranger. For the first time, I became aware of other reality lines, and suddenly I knew what I must do. Bob, when he's referring to the man four of your colleagues called the Stranger, what was that?
That was in Fantastic Four 116, Rick.
And what year did that come out, Bob?
I don't know. I'm going to guess between 1960 and 1971.
Way to narrow it down, Bob.
Well, it's sometime in the Silver Age, I'm guessing, early Silver Age.
Is anybody else at all slightly upset that Bob said 1960? I mean, like, when did the Fantastic Four start?
Oh, Rick, right? I thought we've established that I only read Captain America.
We have established that. Okay. Next page. These children, they will provide my people's timely salvation. Their uncluttered, innocent souls shall fill those hideous, empty shells, and once more my race will live. Ah, look well, my unwitting minion. You thought it but a clever kidnapping, did you not? And he's referring to Batroc. You thought I'd ask a ransom, some gluttonous, exorbitant fee. Yet now you know, you all know, it is far more. Come, my children, your destiny awaits you, as it must ever await us all. Arms outflung, heads tossed back into the full wind of the erupting electron storm. Jakar flickers and glows until, and then Cap says, gone. His control's broken. We're free. But what do we do now? How can we find him? Or the children? Cap, you've got a way of stating the problem that states the problem. Let's face it, man. We're helpless. Qu'est-ce que c'est passe? What is wrong with you? I, for one, will never let that thief escape the leper. And just then, Cap and Falk, quite frankly, blame Batroc for this predicament. They turn and punch Batroc. Wrong, Batroc. You were the man who kidnapped those children. You were the one who contacted Jakar, who sold himself like some crummy Judas goat. Those aren't any words to describe you, Leaper, but believe me, I'd like to try. Okay. I don't understand that. He just said, like some crummy Judas goat.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So Cap just described Batroc as a Judas goat.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he said, there aren't any words to describe you, Leaper, but believe me, I'd like to try.
I see where you're going with that.
I don't understand.
Either describe or don't.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, thank you, Yoda.
Maybe he realized when he said Judas goat, he's like, maybe
I
don't have the word. Maybe I don't have the words.
Yeah, you're a Judas, you're a goat. A Judas goat? I don't know. What the hell is a Judas goat? I don't know. I think I personally, as far as explanations go, that one was pretty bad.
Oh, well played. Well played.
Vermont? Is that so? It is you and your dark friend. Oh, that was very 1972. Who are the heroes? We? None. Oh, hold on. I have this one looked up too.
There is such a thing as a Judas goat, Rick. Huh.
What?
I didn't know that was an actual thing.
Is there what? What the heck is a Judas goat?
A Judas goat is a trained goat used in general animal herding. The Judas goat is trained to associate with sheep or cattle, leading them to a specific destination. In stockyards, a Judas goat will lead sheep to slaughter while its own life is spared.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Now that is harsh.
That is a harsh, yeah.
I mean, to be called a Judas goat, that's pretty harsh.
Yeah, Cap.
Man, all right. Once again, you're welcome, all our listeners who did not know what, like me, what a Judas goat was. Yeah, you're learning something new. All right, here I go. I'm going to try to pronounce this correctly in French. And again, I apologize. Non, je ne le sais pas. I don't think so, ma chers. We each do what we must, and at the moment, you must fight. Cap, Batroc's brigade, we forgot all about them. That you did, mon cher Falcon. And for you, the battle is just now begun. As for the leaper, perhaps I shall regain my lost honor by tracing the stranger and saving the young victims, oui? Comprenez-vous? And so until we meet again, mon chers enemies, I bid you adieu. Amusez vos bien. He's getting away, Falcon. Call Redwing. I'm way ahead of you, mister. There goes Batroc's silent shadow now. And unless I'm losing my inbred sense about these things, Cap. Next page. Following our jiving jumper may just lead us to Jakar Dude. But in the meantime, we better mop up these remains of Batroc's brigade, right, old friend? Good thinking. Wouldn't do to have these clowns on our back for the rest of the evening. We've enough trouble as it is. Short moments later, as the two companions step back to catch their haggard breaths. Looks like we've run out of sparring partners, Falcon. Can't say I miss him, Cap. Now, about this Batroc, maybe you better fill me in. And then we cut to Batroc Zelipe on the rooftops, jumping from building to building. While Cap takes care of his own bit of dramatic exposition, we'll resolve another portion of this play by turning to the sometimes protagonist, known to us as the leaper. Any other man might balk at such a jump. Any other man might panic, or be unable to reach the far corner. But he is not just any man. For years, he's trained, pushing himself against all mortal weakness, driving himself to become the best, and, have no doubt, he is the best. C'est nommé Plapas. I do not like it. It is too easy. Why should this stranger, this alien, give to me the homing device by which I may trace him? Perhaps an oversight? In the background, by the way, Bob, who's flying around? If that was your way of saying Red Wing, yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We, an error on his part, I am sure. But an error he will soon most deeply regret. I have but to follow the erroring light, and it will lead me to his point of departure. Of this, at least, I am certain. But still, it is strange, for I cannot help but follow that someone, in some way, I am being watched. The minutes pass quickly as his eyes straining against the darkness. The leaper makes his way west and finds himself eventually overlooking the rocks on the Hudson shore. That flickering glow, it seems like I have obeyed the correct instincts. The stranger must need a depot of sorts, a place to build his peril. Yet, peut-être he has waited too long, and more, he is underestimated the leper's sense of honor, and for that, he will dearly pay. And so Batroc leaps into the mountainside, straightening from his cautious crouch. Batroc moves silently forward, his brow furrowing in the sudden brilliant glare. And so intent is he upon that piercing glow, he doesn't hear a distant screech of warning, nor would he heed it if he had. That screech of warning.
Oh, sorry.
All right, so we cut to the next page, and we've got two ladies in a workout room. One Sharon Carter and one Contessa de Fontaine. Oh. As Bob would say.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But now, let's pick up still another thread of our story. A thread winding through S.H.I.E.L.D.'s Midtown headquarters, where a certain Sharon Carter moves through the rigors of her day's gymnastics until... Sharon, could I talk with you a moment? Well, the Contessa Valentina Allegrego de Fontaine. I really don't think we have anything to say to each other, Contessa. So if you'll excuse me, I think I've lost interest in, and she starts walking away from her exercise. Sharon, please, I simply must speak with you. Give me a minute, just 1 minute. It's about Steve. Don't tell me you want to apologize. Isn't that just a little melodramatic? I'd expect a bit more taste than that, Contessa. Can we stop bickering for even an instant? I am sorry, Sharon, more than you can ever know. I made a play for Cap only because I was mad at Nick Fury. I thought Nick loved me, but then, abruptly, he began ignoring me, paying more attention to Laura Brown. I suppose I wanted to teach him a lesson, but it backfired. Oh, Sharon, how it backfired. You see, I discovered something I never knew. A woman can love two men, Sharon. And heaven help me, I love Steve Rogers. And then all of a sudden, Sharon Carter appears to be concerned and sympathetic. Val, I didn't know. I thought, oh, Val, what will we do? Next page, we cut to Captain America and Falcon following Red Wing. I don't know, Sharon, Val whispers softly. I just don't know. And next page, we cut to Captain America and Falcon following Red Wing. Red Wing, Batroc must be in that cave, Cap. What's the old saying? Whither he goeth. You got me, friend. Never was much for poetry. You lead, Cap. You're the man with the shield. Just keep behind me, Sam. Their footsteps echo softly in the darkness, their bodies leaning forward, eyes harrowing in the light blotting out the scene before them. Then the glare dims. Their vision adjusts, and they see Batroc. Well, that's just great. Mr. Hero goes wandering off on his own and ends up colder than a week-old stiff. Maybe not, Falcon. That glow around him means he's dead. Face it, Cap. That's one boy who just won't end up as a state prison. Don't be too sure, friend. Look at his eyes. They're watching us. He sees us. I'll bet my life on it. It's your life, Cap. Me? I kind of ask, where's that stranger character? Why ain't he here playing watchdog? And so what they're looking at is a Batroc who's in some sort of laser beam. Did I just use that in quotes like Dr. Evil?
Yeah, it's a laser. Yeah.
But next page, we cut to Batroc, who slowly dissolves into Jakar. Ah, but I am here, my perceptive friend, and I am afraid that at this time, in this place, you have lost your most crucial battle. And I have won a war for a world. So, Bob, I don't know if you just noticed, I shifted my voice.
I know that was awesome. Acting. You're like that John Lovitz character from SNL. Do you remember? I was acting.
What was that movie with if you think about this, right? His world is underneath this crisis where they're all in some paralysis state physically. Mentally, they're gone. He supposes. He somehow comes to that conclusion. But physically, he believes, their bodies are all there. So he's thinking, okay, I'm going to take these human souls and put them into the bodies there in order to repopulate my species.
Yeah.
Okay. Not a good thing to do. But if you really think about it, and this is complete devil's advocate, if you really think about it, he's going for the youth of, like he's going after the orphanages, the slums.
Yep.
He it's not like he's taking all youth. He's like, well, these are the youths that, no one's going to miss.
Yep.
Right?
True that.
So
it's also strange that it's for boys.
Okay, I didn't notice that.
So clearly hasn't thought through this.
Yeah, can you imagine?
So poor Carrie Lee is going to get a new mind in her body,
Now, hold on.
Boy is not going to.
This just opened up a whole new. Oh my God, we just went there. Just went there. Can you imagine being a 12-year-old boy, your son's age,
right?
Your son's age, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden put into like a grown woman's body. They'd never leave the house.
That's right. I know. I wouldn't. Yeah. Yeah. Gosh.
Uh,
I'm 51. I'm still trying to get into a grown woman's body.
wait, you're not 51.
Oh, 54. Shoot. Oh, man.
Wow. Hey,
That
by
sucks.
the way,
Thanks for bringing me down.
I just aged you 3 years in a second.
Damn.
I'm 51.
See, you make me feel young again.
I do. I have that effect on people. I hope to God the listeners are having fun. We are. Casting desperately about the narrow confines of his glassine prison. Glassine? What the hell is a glassine prison?
I got to give Conway credit.
Glassine's not a word.
He is pulling out the thesaurus.
He's making up words now. Anyway, so in a glassine prison, the Falcon sees a momentarily glow. That coupling, something's wrong with the connection. It's partially short-circuited, not enough by itself, but maybe with a little properly applied the jolt could be dangerous. And I've got to chance it. Must have shortened where Jakar trapped us. So with a little luck, next page, bracing himself against the rear of the capsule, having set his falcon claw for maximum extension, Sam Wilson releases the hair-triggered catch and all hell breaks loose. That did it.
Sprack!
The coupling detonated, took out the whole side of the tube with it. Gotta move. Slide out of here before Jakar hears me and bite your tongue, Sammy. He's turning, raising his hand. And he does. Jakar fires from his hand towards Sam, but hits Cap's capsule. Say that 5 times fast.
Oh, yeah.
Nice gamut, Falcon. You tricked him into shattering my capsule. So now let's see just how far we can carry the luck you brought us, old friend? Sounds real fine, Cap. Just leave some pieces for me. I've got first cut, Falcon. Those comments on patriotism went down a little harsh. Really? I'm sorry, Gerry Conway. I'm not feeling it. I don't see Cap as being this. You've insulted my patriotism. I'm gonna, I don't know. Help me out here, Bob. What do you think?
I agree with you. I agree. I think it's funny because we know where this is going to go in just a few issues, right? With Englehart's run.
It's true.
Right. Yeah. So the last gasp.
So Jakar responds. And perhaps you'll swallow this more readily, brash fool. Come, did you honestly believe I'd be unprotected? Maybe not, Jakar. Maybe we're just testing something you've helped us confirm. And Cap throws his shield at Jakar, which ricochets right off his chest. You prattle like children. Do you suppose your shield will fare well where your hands failed? Not quite, mister. But then not all of my goals are simply short term. And so the ricochet hits off his chest, as I mentioned, but then hits off of a wall, which then shatters Batroc's tube. Magnifique! Then we shall battle side by side, mon ami. Let's just say I need you as a diversion, Leaper, as much of a diversion as this futile attack, while Jakar's fate creeps up from behind him. Sorry, my dear Captain. I've no use for idle and obvious threats. News for anything but action. And as he's saying action, he gets hit in the back of the head by one more ricochet of the shield. Cap, that's got to be the greatest display of billiard theory I've seen outside of Harlem. Thanks for the kind words, Falcon. But maybe we better forgo the ego massage till later, okay? You're calling the shots for now, mister. And unless I'm reading you wrong, this one calls for teamwork. And what do? As he says teamwork, Falcon and Cap at the same time, Bob.
Mm-hmm. There's that classic panel, right? That we've seen done. I don't know how many times I've seen this done, but the bad guy in the foreground flying with his back toward the ground and just moments after being socked in the face.
Yep. 2 uppercuts. You could say that, Falcon. You could say that. Now it is my turn, mes amis. There is a small score I have to settle. A matter of honneur. Hold it, Batroc. I said hold it. You don't kick a man when he's down, mister. Figuratively or otherwise. If that's what you call honor. It is what I call revenge, mon cher ennemi. Revenge for making a fool of me. And my friend, this revenge is most sweet. And just then, Batroc goes in for a killing leap. Batroc, no. But Jacquard says, no need to be concerned, dear Captain. I am quite prepared to defend myself. And now, if we are done with these juvenile expectations, because he hits, again, with his ray from his hand, he hits Batroc, who makes a scream. And now, if we are done with these juvenile expectations, I have work to do before I may transport those children home. Don't hold your breath, Buster. Red Wing. From the shadows above, a fluttering shriek, the beating of wind, the beating of wine-dark wings. That accursed fowl, howling, moving, darting against my face. You mindless dolts, what momentary difference can we make? Yet, even as Jacquard's steel-banded wrists sweep the bird back, alert eyes turn to the glowing monitor screen. The woman called Kira Lee. Somehow, the scanner's locked onto her. Maybe it's just a stroke of luck, or some cosmic providence. But that lady's just what we need. Eyes burning a feral scarlet, Jacquard whirls, and his voice echoes with a sudden bitter churl. What are you doing? Get away from that board. Why, Jacquard? Afraid of what you'll see? Or are you afraid of what you'll see, afraid that your wife's eyes aren't blind? Afraid that she'll see what you're doing and condemn you? Which is it, Jacquard? Or, mister, don't you know? Next page. You might as well face it, friend. If you succeed, if she discovers what you've done, she'll wish you'd let her stay in her coma. And maybe she'll hate you. Do you want that, Jacquard? Do you? Kira Lee. My beloved Kira Lee. Then his voice cracks, and trembling from some inner turmoil, the man known as Jacquard sinks to weary knees, shoulders bending, hunching. And Cap motions to Falcon and Batroc. Easy. Just another moment. Another moment, and it's over. Yes, mortal. Yes, it's over. The dream, the faint light of hope, it's gone. You have won, my friend. You forced me to realize what I would not realize before. I cannot bring her back. Cannot bring any of them back. They only exist in my memory. And so this game is ended. And he waves his hand with that Kirby crackle. The pawns are freed, for the knights have won over all. His hand swings, Power bursts and glows. The glassine prison seems to devolve, and in the instant, their victims stand free. As for Jakar, his end too has come. My time on the planet Earth is over, and I have but one recourse. But that's not enough for Batroc. Batroc says, C'est dommage, a pity you think so, mon ami, for you still have 6 score of honneur to settle with Batroc. And he goes up behind Jakar, but Jakar turns and raises his hand. Then consider it settled, Earthian fool. I have no more patience for your petty mercenary goals. No, for me, some greater fate remains. Of this, at least, I am sure. I see now, not for naught, was this mind and soul retained. Perhaps destiny meant it to be this way for reasons and designs I may never comprehend. But this is I know. From this moment on, I am a god without a land to rule, and so must wander the depths of space and spread what I have learned. And now the crimson eyes turn skyward, the body arcs, the form flickers, and borne on silver wings of starlight is gone. And Cap and Falcon watch as this streak goes into the sky. And Batroc sees this as his opportunity to escape. The test of honor has been tried, and so I must settle for the expediency and make my escape now. But before the leaper can complete his furtive movement to the rear. Hold it, mister. You're not going anywhere just yet. You got him, Cap. And old buddy, this time we're going to keep him. Hear me, leaper? This time you stay put. Oh, mes amis, I'm at your service. Soon, next page. Listen to them, Batroc. You were almost responsible for stilling those voices forever. He's talking about the children. Oui, but I did help to save them, no, cher ami? Don't twist your arm patting your back, leaper. You go on home, Cap. I'll make sure Batroc sticks to meet the cops. As you will. Ce n'est pas rien. In days, perhaps hours, I will be free again. Maybe so, Batroc. But I wonder, will you ever be free of your memory? Warily, he turns away, and behind his friend watches concerned and more than a little confused. Hours pass like winding thoughts, and when in their time they lead him to his hotel, they abandon him without answers, only more questions. Why'd Nick flare up at me like that, throwing me out of S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, ordering all agents not to help me, not even see me? Why? Why? Something to do with Sharon? Or maybe Val? The way Val's been acting lately, could that have influenced Fury? Someone's at the door. Sharon. Steve, may I come in? I've got to talk to you, tell you. Tell me what, honey? What's wrong? Has Nick? Nothing like that, Steve. It's Val. Oh, Steve. And after Sharon finishes her explanation, collapsing into Roger's enfolding arms, it's quite a crew we've gotten involved with, isn't it, Sharon? Steve, what can we do? I feel so sorry for her. And then the very last page we turn to. I don't know, Sharon. It's something that Contessa will have to work out for herself. As for me, I know what I want to do. Something I've been meaning to do for quite a while. Steve, hold me. And then the two of them embrace. But as they're embracing, Bob, we're pulling out from where they are to outside of their window of their building, to pulling further back from their window on the wall of the building, to keep pulling back. Steve, hold me. Don't let me get away from you. Never let me get me away again. Quiet, Sharon. Don't say another word. And they embrace and they're kissing. But from the alley across the street, watching this, looking up at the window. Touching, isn't it, my friend? Yeah, real touching. A regular love story for a pair of fools about to die. And that looks like the Scorpion and perhaps Mr. Hyde.
Indeed.
Next issue, Nightmare.
Yeah.
Oh, Bob.
Yeah.
We went a little long for two issues.
I think we did, man. I think we did bust the limit.
Yeah. A couple of tangents there. So, but it was fun. You know what? For this fill-in story that only lasted a couple issues of 4, before the great Steve Englehart joined the series, I thought it was fun. Going back to 1972, and it's always fun to revisit Batroc Zilipa.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, it was nice to be reminded. Not everyone's cup of tea, but I like Gerry Conway's writing. It's elegant writing, you know, and it challenges you to use some new words. So when they're talking about, you know, comics teaching young kids new vocabulary, Conway's writing is one of those sources of, you know, I'm missing a word.
Would that word be anthropomorphism?
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the one. That's the one. So.
Yeah. No. It was a fun story, and it was fun going through it with you. So next episode, Bob, we have our next guest, and we have the author of the book entitled Mark Grunwald and the Star-Spangled Symbolism of Captain America, and that would be the author Jason Olson.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be talking to him about Mark Grunwald and his book, and exploring, you know, the over decade career of Mark Grunwald writing Captain America. I mean, listen, whether there are some parts of it that you didn't like or not, there was a lot of excellent stories from Mark Grunwald as the writer of Captain America, and then add on top of that his time as editor.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So, and he was editor before he was writer. So he was the editor of like J.M. DeMatteis, and he was the editor towards the end too. So, anyway, it's going to be fun talking with Jason Olson in the next episode.
Yep. I'm looking forward. I'm reading the book, and I'm so looking forward to picking his brain.
Absolutely. So come back for episode 82 as we have a fun conversation with Jason Olson. So Bob, as always, I've had a ton of fun wrapping cap with you.
Indubitably.
Oh, there you go. Trying to use those big words.
Right. Yep.
I would have been more impressed if you did something in French.
Indubitably.
Is that all it takes? Is that all it takes?
It's all it takes, man.
All right. And thanks again to John Waller Sewell for calling in as Batroc. All right. He's Bob Lucius. I'm Rick Verbanis. And as always, you've been listening to Captain America Comic Book Fans